Ladies and gentlemen, patrons, stakeholders, colleagues, friends, welcome. And thank you for joining us, the Sam Sharp Teachers College, as we, in our inaugural The Sharp Argument, we open the conversation, we join in the conversation, we join in the debate, artificial intelligence and education. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm sure that what we have this afternoon will be something for you to listen and to ponder as we go into this new scope, this new realm of interaction with technology. Before I go any further, I am going to invite our acting principal, Mr. Ricardo Bennett, to bring greetings. Mr. Bennett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Robinson. Let me use the opportunity to greet everyone on the platform this afternoon. I greet members of staff. I greet current students, past students, teachers, principals, and friends of Sam Sharp Teachers College. Welcome. And as our moderator said earlier, this evening really is the first of many conversations that we want to have as it surrounds this most topical matter of artificial intelligence. And as a tertiary institution, we believe it's important that we begin to talk about what the future of education, what that will look like, and what impact will this technology have in the way we assess, in the way we teach. So what we want to have is to talk about the future of education. So many things are changing. 3 years ago, we were not even aware that we could have been doing so much online. Many persons knew nothing about Zoom. Then we learned about Teams. We learned about the Google platform and so many things that we could do with Google Meet. So it's an era of technology, and we cannot turn back the hands of time. So what we want to do is to see how we can use the technology that is available to ensure that we better serve, how we better train our teachers. So here at Sam Sharp Teachers College, we are moving with technology. We are not shunning the technology, we're embracing the technology, and we're moving forward. So we welcome the conversation. We welcome your suggestions. We welcome your thoughts, that as we move forward, we will continue talking about ChatGPT. We'll talk about the other forms of technology that is available to ensure that we remain current. We remain abreast of the changing environment. So welcome everyone. Let us begin the conversation. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Mr. Principal, Mr. Ricardo Bennett. And indeed, that is definitely a greeting and pretty much starting what we have to offer here at the Sam Sharp Teachers College. We have a stimulating program set up for you. So all ears are open, all pens are ready to jot down your comments, your concerns, your burning issues, your questions. We are ready. We have 3 brilliant presenters up to date, ready to discuss what is happening, what should be, what may be in this world of technology and the introduction of artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on Zoom, but we are also on YouTube, just in case you can share that with your friends and families and whoever would like to join in on the conversation. We are there. Thank you so much. We are going to go right into our program, and our first presenter is Mr. Connor Peters, and he is the head of the mathematics department here at the Sam Sharp Teachers College. A math guru, I call him, who holds a Master of Science in Mathematics with distinction from the University of the West Indies. He is the brainchild of the institution Math Conference, a researcher, a scholar, having co-published academic articles in the Journal of Information and Optimization Sciences. He is most definitely an AI fanatic. Trust me, I can tell you that, and will be starting us off with his presentation on artificial intelligence, the forecast for Jamaican society. And we hand over to you, Mr. Connor Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Thank you first and foremost for the opportunity to share. Just one question before I start. Are you seeing me? And are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Seeing you. The screen is coming up. Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, in the time that I will be presenting to you, I will be talking to you about the forecast for the Jamaican society as it relates to AI. Coming up in this discussion, we'll be looking at what is artificial intelligence, brief history of artificial intelligence, the types of artificial intelligence, how does it learn? We'll be looking at some demonstration as well as some topical news items, and we'll be doing some prediction as to how we foresee AI developing in our Jamaican context. Now, before we start the discussion on what is artificial intelligence, it is prudent for us to talk about what is intelligence. Now, intelligence refers to the ability to learn, reason, and adapt based on acquired knowledge and experience. The key word here is adapt, and adapt to new information. It is also important for me to differentiate between innate behaviors that we call instincts. Instincts are not the same as intelligence. So whenever you see a bird creating a nest or ants creating a nest, that is not intelligent. However, if they develop new behaviors as a result of their experience, that is how we know that they are intelligent. And that is possible to happen. Now, artificial intelligence refers to the development of computer systems that give me a minute, that are designed to imitate human intelligence and perform tasks with human-like capabilities. Now, the key word here is computer system as well as imitate. The machines are able to imitate human behavior. Whenever that is the case, we call that artificial intelligence. Here on this slide, we see a monkey, or if we have a monkey or another animal imitating human behavior that was trained to it, we would not say that that animal underwent artificial intelligence training. That is intelligence in and of itself. The only things that we refer to that we talk about artificial intelligence, those would have to be machines. So like dolphins and monkeys, we say that those creatures are intelligent, not artificially intelligent. Now, what are the influencers for the development of artificial intelligence? The first one that we are going to look at is science. Now, curiosity and exploration and empirical studies, these drive the development of new technology. So science is one of the influencers of this AI revolution. The desire for comfort is also one of the pivotal things, the things that keeps it moving. So when we think about the discovery of fire, the wheel, the invention of electricity, all these were done to make our existence more comfortable. So that is one influencer. And the other more subtle, not really seen influencer is the movies. The movies influence our development of technology. And a quote from Ray Kurzweil says that movies inspire technological innovation by showing us what is possible before it becomes reality. Now, with that being said, I'm going to play a 2021 clip from Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, Mr. Peters, no audio.
No audio? Okay, let me just quickly check on that. You can tell me if we have.
Can you show up my web shooters? Isolate and phasing webs and reconfigure
Yes, we're good now.
voltage to a factor of 25% and give me complete manual control over detonation.
All right, mic check. All right, yes. So we're going to talk about artificial intelligence and its different departments as it relates to what we saw in the movie. So in the clip that we just saw, we saw that there was machine learning. We also saw that there was deep learning, there was natural language processing, there was speech to text, there was also expert systems as well as image recognition. Now, with this short presentation, I won't have time to take us through all these different departments of AI. So we'll just look specifically at deep learning and machine learning. Now, machine learning refers to algorithms that enable software to improve itself, its performance over time as it obtains more data. The significance here is that the engineers for robots don't always have to be the programmers, the ones that type in the instruction for the machine to do the specific task. Over time, as more information or data is injected into the database of the machine, it will develop more, what should I say? It will develop more behaviors or human-like behaviors as it gains more data on its own. So it can do this without being explicitly programmed. Deep learning is a subcategory of machine learning. This is where the computer system mimics the structure of the human brain, where it has artificial neural networks. Now, in biology, you may be familiar with the biological neurons and the synapses that allows the neurons to communicate with each other. In a very similar way, the computer system is structured to have artificial neurons, in which we call those nodes, and it communicates via synapses as well. You can see a depiction of that discussion in A and B. B is for the artificial neurons and A is for the biological neurons and its synapses. And we can see some likeness of the two structures. So whenever we start to structure computers in a way that replicates the brain, that is what we call deep learning. And one of the fun fact or thing that is a topical discussion is the fact that whenever we have deep learning, engineers sometimes don't understand fully how the system comes up with new information. It's happening and the computers come up with new information and the creators are like wondering, how did it do that? Just something to think about. All right, the term AI has been around for some time now. Didn't even realize that. It was around from 1956 with John McCarthy first coining it AI or artificial intelligence. In 1969, the first mobile robot was created, Shaky. That's the name of that robot. In 1997, we have Deep Blue, a computer program that defeated the chess champion at the time. In 2002, we have the first commercial robot. It was a vacuum cleaner. And in 2015 to 2018, we have a whole host of AI apps. We have speech recognition, we have Google Maps, we have smart homes, and all those things. So there was a burst of new AI inventions during that period. Now, there are two categories of AI. We have the weak AI. These AI are designed and trained for a particular task, one task. Examples of weak AI, these are Alexia, Siri, even self-driving cars are considered weak AI. ChatGPT also falls in the category of weak AI. Strong AI possess the ability to perform any intellectual task a human can. Now, this type of AI is not in existence as yet. They are working on it. It's only exists in fiction, in fictional movies. For example, maybe RoboCop or Ultron from the Marvel Universe. So these computers can do it, our machines can do everything that the human can. So a quick demonstration of AI. I'll start you off with voice cloning AI. Now, this AI is able to replicate the voice and the likeness of a particular human. So I can train the AI to copy my voice and just use, the AI will just have my voice. So I have an example for you with Morgan Freeman.
Hello, Jamaica. Welcome to the Sharp Argument. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Petters. Please give him your undivided attention.
Able to hear that?
Somewhat, Mr. Peters, yeah.
Okay, all right. I have one more.
Hello, Jamaica. Welcome to the Sharp Argument. This is a demonstration of what the voice cloning AI can do. I know this is scary and the road ahead is bumpy, but I promise you the future will be brighter as a result of it.
All right, so you can put in the chat whose voice you think that was. So that AI was trained to talk like that person. The next demonstration, by the way, this app that was used is called iMyFone, and the place where you can go to train your voice or train other person's voice to become AI replicated or cloned is the 11 Labs. The next AI that will be demonstrated is the image generating AI. This AI is able to receive natural language in the form of prompts and produce whatever you ask it to do. The name of the AI, that particular AI that I'll be using to do this, is called the Midjourney. Now, the work is already done. If you want to know more about the Midjourney, you can do a YouTube on that, or you can go to the website and sign up and get it done. Now, the work was already done. I asked that AI to draw a Clark's shoes with the Spider-Man style in Jamaican color. Now, I tried to make it as weird, the prompt to be as weird and unique as possible. Here we can see the finished work. It was completed with the only thing that was left out is the Jamaican color, right? But the image is there on point. It's a Clark shoes, and it does have the Spider-Man design and stuff. Now, the issue here is that the content to create this image was pulled from several sources. And as you can see to the left corner, bottom corner of the shoes, we can see that there's some signature, suggesting to us that the work presented here was partially, not fully, partially taken from someone's work. Now, the question now becomes, whose work is it? My colleague will talk more on the ethical issues as it relates to intellectual property. Also, we have the most popular one at this time, text generating AI in the form of ChatGPT, which means chat generative pre-trained transformer. Now, these AI are utilize advanced natural language processing and machine learning algorithms to engage in human-like conversation with your users. My colleague again will do his demonstration on ChatGPT. Now, some topical issues as it relates to AI. First, we have in BBC World News, Elon Musk, among other experts, are urging for the pause in the training of artificial intelligence. So he is concerned about the regulations for AI as well as the dangers it may pose on the views of humanity. He is very concerned and he has asked for a pause. This happened in early May. Also, just last week, we have the CEO and founder of OpenAI, that's a parent company for ChatGPT. He's asking his government, the Congress, to put some regulations on the development of AI. He is also concerned about the use of AI and the dangers that it may pose to the society, because we apparently aren't ready for it as yet. Now, working with AI in the near future will take on the likeness of a psychic. So AI would kind of be like a sidekick to humanity, where it does many of the heavy lifting of mundane tasks such as writing reports, even speeches and lesson plans. So we're now going to look at some predictions for AI in the Jamaican atmosphere. Now, AI will disrupt some of our industries, but it will not paralyze them completely. So we may experience some paradigm shift in the following industries. 1, education. 2, entertainment. 3, tourism. 4, design and engineering. Now, in education, students may experience easier access to personalized curriculum. There should also be increase in persons with technical skills. And of course, there will be a change in the way that we assess our students. And of course, there should be some implementation of new policies. So these are some of the things that we are expecting to be happening in the near future. In entertainment, through the use of AI, we are supposed to see a boost in content creation in our Jamaican context, right? So we may experience increased activities in areas such as songwriting, voice acting, book publication, movies, animation, theater arts, and photography, etc. The issue here is still, whose work is it? If we're using AI and AI is pulling from all across the internet to create what we have prompted it to do, whose work it is. Once we get past that ethical issue, we should be on a road to a brighter future. Tourism should also be impacted. So there should be a decrease in the fear of language barriers. This should trigger an intake of prospective travelers. Also, through the use of maps, through AI maps, travelers will have more autonomy over their traveling arrangements as well as security. So they can set up with their family some GPS tracking device so that their whereabouts when they come to Jamaica is always known. That is, of course, optional. So the overall influence of artificial intelligence seems to pose a net positive prospect for our Jamaican society. Yes, there are going to be some issues here and there, some policies that need to be changed and challenges. However, I believe that the overall impact should be, when we take into consideration the pros and the cons, it should have a net positive prospect for the future. Here ends my presentation. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Peters. Listen, this is interesting. Thanks, Mr. Peters, because what you have done now you have pretty much opened our eyes to what is out there outside of ChatGPT that pretty much every one of us is going crazy over. Whether going crazy over it for because we want to use it, or we can use it, or going crazy because it is maybe getting out of hand when it comes on to education, right? The question about intelligence, what is intelligence? That's an interesting question, because we now see that it may come a time when our intelligence is questioned. Our intelligence become null and void.
And to add to that question about intelligence, there is a prediction of an event which is called the event singularity event. This is when it is expected for computers to become smarter than human beings. So
wow.
Right, so they call that the singularity. That's an event. We don't know when it will happen, but they are thinking that it may happen sometime in the future.
And just commenting, even the whole machine learning versus deep learning, and what we are pretty much seeing in front of us. We are seeing weak AI, and we are seeing this idea of weak AI, but we are looking at these things as some really powerful AI, as weak AI, right? But thank you so much, Mr. Peters. Where is Jamaica and this artificial intelligence as it relates to education, entertainment, tourism, and the whole host of it? Mr. Peters, you have definitely opened our eyes to for some questions and concerns. And as I speak about questions and concerns, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to jot your questions as the presenters go on. And when I ask, you may put them in the chat, or as I will be asking the questions right throughout when it comes on to our comments and question and answer segment. So just write your question in the chat. Ensure that your names are clear so I can indicate that this question is coming from you. I may not ask all the questions in the chat because we are working with time here. So bear that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, because the conversation has started, and my taste buds, my palate has been opened, and I want to hear more. I want to hear what it is with ChatGPT and education. And coming to us is Mr. Ferron, who is an exceptional educator, an author, and motivational speaker with almost a decade of teaching experience, both the secondary and the tertiary level, a background in social sciences and humanities, specializing in geography and social studies and Caribbean studies. Mr. Peter, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Robinson, just to interject, there has been a slight change. Carrie Ann Carr Williams will follow Mr. Peters.
No problem.
And then,
well,
thank you so much.
Thank you. So the better. All right. So thank you, Mrs. Carr Williams, who will be coming to us. All right. And Mrs. Carr Williams, just to introduce our next speaker, our next presenter, Mrs. Carrie Ann Carr Williams, is our research officer here at the Sam Sharp Teachers College. She holds a master's in library and information science, and also a master's in education. And Mrs. Carr Williams is passionate about influencing learners to become global citizens of excellence. Listen, her upcoming children's adventure book, Adventures in Handington, will be published with this year, 2023. And Mrs. Carr Williams is also a recipient of the League of Excellence Award for the year 2020-2021. And Mrs. Carr Williams will be speaking to us. Is artificial intelligence good or bad? And I think that's a question on the tip of a lot of us tongue, especially as it relates to education. Is artificial intelligence good or bad? Mrs. Carr Williams, it's your turn.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Farron 2021 posits that the time is always right to do what is right. By the way, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. Farron 2021 posits that the time is always right to do what is right. Well, this is actually a disclaimer.
Yes.
Hashtag stolen. These words really belong to Martin Luther King. May I have a second, please?
Certainly.
Okay, so we continue. Imagine if you owned such a profound quote, which frequently used many and which was frequently used by many and monetized, but no one mentioned that you were the creator. How would you actually feel? This evening, I will be speaking on the ethical uses of artificial intelligence. Is artificial intelligence good or is it bad? The information from this presentation will enlighten you on the ethical uses of artificial intelligence, and the tentative solutions will be provided to debunk the junk you have heard about artificial intelligence tools. From a recent survey conducted by yours truly to 50 students from a range of institutions in Falmouth and another 50 students from a range of schools in Montego Bay, the question was asked, do you think it is fair to use artificial intelligence tools to complete assignments? Based on the responses, 54% of the students in Falmouth said yes, while 32% said no, and 14% said maybe. On the other hand, in Montego Bay, 48% said yes, 46% said no, and 6% said maybe. From this survey, we can tell that students are making decisions regarding the use of artificial intelligence tools. However, do they know what is considered to be fair or ethical when using such sophisticated technology as consumers of information? You would find that some information may or may not be up to date from an artificial intelligence tool. Therefore, your critical thinking skills need to be sharp to identify the gaps. When interfacing with artificial intelligence tools, there are several questions which can guide your thought processes on what is right or wrong. Resnick 2013 defines ethics as norms for conduct that distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Take a look at these probing questions. First, how do we manage intellectual properties? Do you know what is intellectual property rights? Well, it speaks to original creations of the mind, such as poetry, choreography, jewelry designs, business science, and inventions. This is coming from the Jamaica Intellectual Property Rights, 2009. These original expressions are recognized as items of value and worthy of protection through intellectual property rights. Imagine if you created a song or other invention which you would have uploaded to ChatGPT, but then the chatbot shared your original work with someone else without properly referencing your work. This would be a breach of intellectual property. Isn't that so? Yes. Second, how do we mitigate against dangerous ideas and conventions? With every new technology comes its challenges, of which includes security issues. The misuse of artificial intelligence tools can allow persons to engage in undesirable behaviors, which may have legal implications for which the innocent may be legally at fault. Third, should we value originality? We know the old adage which says there is nothing new under the sun. So information is being used and rebranded, right? Fourth, will artificial intelligence spell the death of human creativity? Humans need to value the creative ability since it takes a human to input information into the chatbot. Fifth, how trustworthy is ChatGPT? Are educators able to safely say that students can independently retrieve credible sources from ChatGPT with little or no error, that is? Sixth, should we outsource tasks from artificial intelligence tools? What should be the implications? What will be the implications actually for the Jamaican education system? Now, here are some tentative solutions to consider when using artificial intelligence. You might have heard the term, use your brain before you lose it. In fact, if a brain cell is not used or does not communicate with the cell next door, that cell loses its function. A well-connected brain has more resilience against damage. It can handle more damage than a brain with fewer alternate routes around the damaged area. This is coming from Forth and Norton, no date, as cited in Stern 2012. Always bear in mind that creating original work will help to distinguish your work from others. Having original work is rewarded, while plagiarized work will be penalized. And my script is not from ChatGPT. As you can tell, it sounds human-like, right? Of course. While robots help to generate money from data received and exported, be mindful that machine language is distinctly different from human language, and your educator can easily detect your work from that of an artificial intelligence tool. I reiterate, an overuse of artificial intelligence tools can interfere with the development of your brain cells. Use your brain wisely before you use it. Another tentative solution is to provide students with guidelines for using artificial intelligence. For assessments, rethink the use of orals where students should be asked to defend their papers. Reassess the criteria for evaluating students and tailor assignments to suit certain desired outcomes. Students should be encouraged to use information from a variety of sources, not just online sources. And they should be instructed to indicate which section of their work was taken from ChatGPT. This also goes for the instructor as well. We have our eyes on you, instructors. The next tentative solution is, while enjoying the features of using ChatGPT, you need to reconsider using it sparingly. Use it as an assistance tool or personal tutor as you seek clarity on techniques or methodology in your subject area. Use ChatGPT as a check marker, testing your knowledge on topical issues. Finally, use ChatGPT for brainstorming ideas. Consider ChatGPT as the new Wikipedia. which could guide your thoughts as you prepare to create original content. According to the Australian government, Tertiary Education and Quality Standards Agency, academic integrity is defined as, and I quote, the expectation that students, teachers, and researchers, and all members of the academic community will act with honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and responsibility, unquote. Educators and students have their role to play in ensuring that copyright policies and intellectual property rights are enforced and adhered to. Make wise decisions when using artificial intelligence, as plagiarizing others' works have consequences, such as failing the program or repeating the course. And we wouldn't want that, would we? Another tentative solution is to build core competencies in your students by teaching them research skills, critical thinking skills, computer skills, communication skills, and soft skills. Such valuable information will be useful as technology becomes more advanced and expectations become more challenging. The final tentative solution is to create policies for accountability and quality assurance. Create plagiarism policies and penalize offenders. Ensure that students submit assignments into softwares which can detect plagiarism, for example, Turnitin and Grammarly. Here's a food for thought. The right way is not always the popular and easy way. Standing for right when it is unpopular is a true test of moral character. And this is coming from Margaret Chase Smith. This ends my presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening, and remember, you can't go wrong when you are being ethical using artificial intelligence tools. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Carr Williams. Is AI good or bad? And I feel like Mrs. Carr Williams, I'm not sure if you have answered that question or you leave that question for us to answer for ourselves, because yeah, it's in its true sense an ethical question. Is AI good or bad? What do you think? And when I look in my chat, trust me, I'm telling you that my chat is burning up. People are commenting on the presentations. This is Sheridan Noel says that my concern is the impact this has on learning regarding students and society, no longer needing to use their minds and brain to create, but instead all you do is retrieve. It's like a TikTok disease, short attention span, and can't use the brain or research to ensure that they see or hear is what they see or hear is credible and not just believe. So now we are facing a case of AI and TikTok diminishing our society. I am agreeing with that to an extent. Indeed, it is. We have.
Might I add, Mr.
Certainly, go right ahead.
Yes, so the question at hand, is artificial intelligence good or bad? With any tool, there is an advantage to using it and a disadvantage of having it. And so the ball is in the individual's court. When you are in the World Wide Web sphere, it is up to you to decide what decision you're going to be making when it comes on to being a consumer of information. So when we share information about ethics and copyright policies, etc., this will stir in the minds of learners from all angles. What choices will you be making as an independent learner? And so we know we can't police students as to where they go to find information. But when the information at hand comes to us, we will decide whether or not it merits an A as opposed to something else, right?
Right, which you allude to, we have to change the way in which we assess our student. We have to reimagine, restructure, reconsider the criteria, the rubric, whatever it is, the rules and guidelines, how we assess our students. Wow. Richard Aitken, I hope I pronounced your name properly, Richard, says that technology has advanced at such an exponential pace that it has outstripped the legal infrastructure and institutions like the present patent laws. The present governance and legal framework is incapable of coping with the advances in current information and computer technology. Listen, at one point, I may feel scared based on what has been presented so far. And trust me, our presenters are very well able. They have dug deep into this topic of AI overall and AI and education, because even now I'm questioning Mrs. Carr-Williams, wondering how am I going to treat with my students when they use the AI and say they don't use it, but I know they've used it because I also use the AI. What are we going to do? We need to work at a fast pace with regards to policies and policies with regards to the use of artificial intelligence and in our education space. The issue of ethics will be a huge problem to deal with in our education system and sector. Thank you so much, Mrs. Carr-Williams. Thank you for that wonderful presentation and insightful presentation. We are moving into our third and final presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember to put your questions in the chat and your comments also, as I will be reading comments from the chat and jotting questions to ask our presenters. And if you want, well, based on the question you ask, we may know which presenter should answer, but I'm going to ask to also indicate which presenter you're asking a particular question. Now, our next presenter, I have introduced him, I've started to introduce him, Mr. Leroy Ferron. He holds a Master of Science in Management and Education Leadership, and is currently pursuing his philosophy doctoral degree. He has published 6 books, including an Amazon 2019 bestseller. He is passionate about research and writing and is actively involved in charitable causes. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our third and final presenter, Mr. Leroy Ferron, who will be looking at education and philosophy. Sorry, education and artificial intelligence.
American singer and superstar Beyonce asked the question in her 2011 hit, Run the World. But at this juncture in human history, I am certain there is another response. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. In this segment of our webinar, we'll be looking at the pros and cons of ChatGPT for teachers and students in Jamaica. ChatGPT will cause our students to experience higher motivation levels. The ability of ChatGPT to generate customized responses offers any student a greater sense of engagement and ownership. Additionally, students love individual attention. And with ChatGPT, students can receive personalized feedback and attention that will enhance their overall learning experience and, of course, freeing up time for their teachers. And thirdly, it enhances learning. With ChatGPT, students can supplement their readings, they can supplement what they were taught in class, and of course, engage in at-home learning. There is something in it for us as educators. With ChatGPT right now, you can save a whole lot of time on grading and feedback. You can provide students with timely feedback. And of course, that's less time consuming. And so with automated grading at our disposal, I'm sure teachers will be grateful for that, or we ought to be grateful for that. Additionally, we can use ChatGPT to automate our attendance and scheduling, and of course, update our assessment methods. With ChatGPT, we can consider many more formative assessment options that are more efficient and accurate. ChatGPT also has a place in remote learning. It is a chatbot, it is an artificial intelligence. There is a space for it in remote learning. Check this out. When we think about ChatGPT, remote learning, distance learning, it reduces cost. Gone were the days where people would have to purchase large textbooks and download expensive softwares. You only need connection to the internet. And so reduced costs, because you can now access ChatGPT entirely online. And of course, you don't have to worry about many of the challenges that comes with typical education. Now, with ChatGPT, learning can be much more flexible, right? So if students don't understand fully what was done in class, they can always ask ChatGPT to break it down to match their cognitive level. So you simply need to say to ChatGPT, and just so you know, we'll be exploring it in a bit. So I'm just sensitizing you as to what ChatGPT can do. Now, you have a particular challenge with a particular topic. You simply need to say, you simply need to say, break this topic down for me. Break down fractions. Or you may prompt ChatGPT to say, explain addition of fractions to a 5-year-old. And just like that, it will break it down and simplify it so that just about any learner can understand. So it makes learning flexible. Another benefit of ChatGPT is that you don't have to worry about your locale. Wherever you are, you can access ChatGPT once you have connection to the internet and, of course, a suitable device. And so students across all levels can access learning materials, learning resources, content that can enable them to maximize on their learning experience. Now, Omar bin Sultan Al Olama, Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence in the UAE, he said, AI will transform education and make it more accessible for more students. And that is why we're having this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, it's demo time. Go ahead and type demo in this chat. We're going to be exploring ChatGPT. Now, how do we get to ChatGPT? You simply need to open your browser. And you know, when we say open your browser, you go to Google. Once you go to your browser, you go to Google. There you have it. where do we go from here? You type chat GPT, even if you don't spell it correctly. Of course, as we often say, Google knows everything. It will know exactly what you're referring to, especially since it is very topical. You click introducing ChatGPT. Now your interface will look like this, dark background with purple. They say men are colorblind, but I believe this is purple writing and a little bit of green to your right. And just so you know, you have a variety of information on this portal. When you scroll down, you will have an idea of, what ChatGPT is about. You'll get an overview. You'll see how the chat bot works, etc. And you can explore that when you get some time. Now, for us as new users, what we need to do is to click try ChatGPT. You heard me. Click try ChatGPT because that's the whole essence of what we're doing. We want to try it out. We want to see what it can do. So you click try ChatGPT, and generally you are asked to enter your login information. Now your login information is usually your Google email address, all right? But because I already have one, then it took me exactly to the chat space. Now to your left, you will see all the information that you have researched in recent times. If you want to clear that, you click the three little buttons on your left and click clear conversations. Confirmed, and they're all gone, all right? Now, you have a clean space. Now, as an educator, and I'm an educator, so I want to take it from that perspective, we spoke about, especially under ethics, we looked at the fact that, listen, as educators, we need to rethink our methods of assessment. Gone were the days where you could ask students, oh, write an essay on so and so. ChatGPT can handle that in milliseconds. Take a look. So let's say I'm a geography teacher, so I'm particularly going to try a geotopic right now. So write an essay on the solar system, and I hope we're all taking notes. Grab your notepads. Write an essay on the solar system. Look at what ChatGPT can do. In milliseconds, the essay will be completed. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is not an alien invasion, and this is not a dream. It is all happening. Yes, it is happening. Now, for the language persons who are on, and for the teachers who teach disciplines or facilitate disciplines that require lots of essay writing, you will notice that it started with an introduction and body paragraphs. 1, 2, 3, right? And if you're a specialist, you will realize that it is actually covering content, right? And then attempted to write the conclusion. But guess what? With ChatGPT educators, there's a limit to the number of words that you can get on any particular question. Of course, there are ways to bypass that, which we will not explore right now, but maybe in future webinars. But for example, ChatGPT would have generated this essay, right? Let's say the student, jump into student's perspective now. Let's say the student wants the entire thing. You simply need to write in the follow-up dialog box, continue writing. Or you could just put continue and it will finish the conclusion for you. Yes, ChatGPT can do that. All right, moving right along. And of course, if you don't want any more information, you can stop generating. This button right here, stop generating. Good. Let's try something else. In order to prevent students from going to ChatGPT directly to get information, we simply need to be creative as educators. So instead of saying, write an essay on the solar system, this is something you could consider, or this is one way in which you could structure the question. You could say, for example, with reference to chapter 9 of your text on solar system science, comment on the importance of the solar system and cite 3 examples the author presented. Now, a question like this, ladies and gentlemen, ChatGPT will need to have that exact page as well as the name of the text, right? It doesn't have that, which means it will present a challenge for the chatbot. Then look at the follow-up question or the stem for this question. It says, do you agree or disagree with the author's perspective? Give argued reasons for your answer. Now, this will require some personal perspective. It will require the students to think critically, to think comprehensively, and to assess what they would have read. Now, ChatGPT may not be able to assist them with that entirely. Look at the result. So initially we asked, write an essay on the solar system, and we saw the essay, it was written, and more than like, well, pretty good, right? Look at the alternative method or the alternative way of asking the question. Just like that, educators, we have won at least this round. So let me just stop generating just to show, to prove a point. So the first part of the response from the language model, it said, I apologize for the confusion, but as an AI language model, sorry. Sorry about that. We had some technical issues. Let me just hold a second. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. Let's share again. All right, please tell me it's better. All right, thank you so much. Right, so as we were saying, so now the chatbot is now confused and not sure what to do. But listen to what the chatbot said. It's very smart, you know. It says, however, I won't be able to comment on specific examples for a particular chapter. Why? Because AI would need to have that. Now, you may say, but you do have other apps that can translate text, images, sorry, to text. But students won't have time to do all of that. You get what I'm saying? So we simply need to rethink our methods of assessment. Now, what else can ChatGPT do for you? Let's say you want to write a lesson plan. That's easy. Anything to do with writing, ChatGPT can do that with ease. So you can say, okay, write a lesson plan. Write a lesson plan on the solar system, since we're on the solar system. And we will explore other areas as well, all right? So write a 5E lesson plan, and I chose this because many of us are educators who are on the platform or educators in training. And so write a 5E, or parents view it. So write a 5E lesson plan on the solar system for a grade 7 geography class and incorporate STEM. Because you know, we're all about STEM education. Now just take a look at what ChatGPT can do. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The format of the lesson plan is there. It may not necessarily fit the specifics of your particular school, but it is there. The objectives are there, the grade level, the duration, etc. And you have the 5 E's, the engage, the explore, the explain. But as I scroll slowly, you'll realize that there are some, you know, issues with this lesson plan, because we're educators, we can still pick up the flaws. Now, I did this to show us that, listen, ChatGPT can do whatever we require. We just need to be specific enough with the prompts. So I asked it to write a 5E lesson plan on solar system for grade 7. But if I want ChatGPT to perfect this plan, I simply need to be more specific with the instructions. So I noticed it had like 40 minutes for some aspects of the lesson. There's no class that is that, you know, that has that duration. And so let's try again, let's perfect this. So write a 5E lesson plan on the solar system for a 60-minute grade 7 geography class and incorporate STEM. So the difference here is that it is time bound, and you will see the difference in the lesson plan it generates. We could also ask it to separate specific from general objectives. It can do all of that. So educators, we can utilize this platform to brainstorm, because you've been teaching, let's say, the same topic for years, and you've been using the same methodologies and expecting to get different results. It doesn't work like that. So I know sometimes we may be tired and overworked, but ChatGPT is here to help you, to help us to brainstorm new ways of disseminating certain content. Now, another thing that I want us to explore is to create rubrics. I know we utilize rubrics a lot because we do a lot of marketing. So you can ask ChatGPT to create a rubric. So you can ask it to perhaps create a rubric for, let's say you had asked the students to create a model of the solar system. So you can simply ask ChatGPT to write a rubric for evaluating that assignment or assessment. So write or create or construct, you know, the taxonomical verbs, construct a rubric for assessing a model of the solar system. And let's see what happens. Again, it is grading for accuracy. It's grading for creativity. It's grading for, let me see, it's grading for presentation. How does it look? Is it visually appealing? It is grading for, right? So technically, these are things we would be looking for if we were to be grading a model of the solar system. Now, let's say you don't like this type of rubric and you want it in a different format. You can simply ask ChatGPT to convert this rubric in the form of a table. Convert this rubric in table form. Look at this. Look at this. And one thing we didn't do, we did not give it a score, like a total score to work with. And it came up with something for us based on its own intelligence, as it were, right? So ladies and gentlemen, ChatGPT can do a lot. And I must try another one, because based on the chat, I saw a language teacher posted something, a Spanish teacher. So let's try something. Hola. And we know hola to mean hi or hello, right? And ChatGPT recognized the language. So initially I was speaking English and flipped to Spanish, and it was able to do that. So it says, hola, ¿en qué puedo ayudarte hoy? So what is that saying? So let's say you're a student practicing for orals, whether at the tertiary level or at the CSEC level, or, you know, grade 7 to, or at the primary level, whichever. So it says, hi, what can I do for you today? Or how can I help you today? Let's say you say translate to English. It can do that for you in I could not, must be capital E, right? Translate to English. Hello, how can I assist you today? And let's say you want to flip the language now. Let's try Chinese. Han hao. It literally recognizes that I would have flipped the language. I was expecting it to respond in Chinese, it didn't. So regenerate response. So you notice something here? It is not always able to flip between or switch between languages. So there are loopholes and you can work around them. But as a student or even as a practitioner, let's say you haven't done frequent immersion, then this is a tool that you can use to have human-like interactions, all right? And so ChatGPT is very good, ladies and gentlemen. Educators, don't run from it. Do not run from it, but see how best you can apply ChatGPT to make your work easier, to make you more efficient and effective. And so we will now look at some of the limitations of ChatGPT. And no, the students are going to catch on and catch on quickly. We cannot be left behind. So limitations of ChatGPT in education in Jamaica. One, I should have tried that one. It would have been funny. Language barrier. So ChatGPT may not be able to comprehensively understand the Jamaican Creole, the JC, right? And so it's perfectly fine with the standard English. So ChatGPT can struggle to understand Jamaican patois dialect, making it a challenge for some students to communicate effectively. Excuse me. So some students might ask it to do something, but based on the prompt, because it's not written in coherent English, ChatGPT may stumble. Another limitation, resource constraints. Now, many schools lack the resources necessary to provide ChatGPT as an effective learning tool. Now, we know from the pandemic that our schools, there are insufficient resources. And so if we seriously want to consider ChatGPT, then we will have to fill those resource gaps. And of course, goes back to ethical considerations with privacy. There are concerns and those are being worked on. And later on, I believe our ministry, our education ministry will think about legislation, etc., etc. But let's look at what the people think about ChatGPT. So our research officer would have gone out into the field, and these were some of the findings. Has your institution, informed you about ChatGPT? Many students said no. So though we're having this talk, and though many other institutions would have had the talk or have continuous webinars and workshops, the talk still needs to be had even more and in weeks to come. And so based on research, we're realizing that many people still don't know about it. And so you are in this webinar now, you're at the right place at the right time. And I believe and I hope that you will share the message. And so many people are still unaware. What are the students saying about ChatGPT? Students are saying that, listen, ChatGPT has made learning more enjoyable and easier for me. It might promote, students not being focused in classes, etc., because they have ChatGPT, and it's like their big brother or big sister that can help them. Something to consider. Another student said, I like that ChatGPT provides many resources for me to learn from. I think some of them are just being lazy. And by the way, these are pseudonyms. These are not the real names. So before you call Christine and Kevin on me, no, these are pseudonyms, all right? Also, it feels almost human. And one of the limitations I have to share with you is that based on my interaction with ChatGPT, and I've been using it for months, trust me, we've been exploring it for months. And to be honest, the main thing that's missing from it is the emotional component. Next, what are teachers saying about ChatGPT? One teacher said, using ChatGPT has helped me to teach more effectively and engage my students on a deeper level. Because yes, you can come up with more probing questions, you can come up with more interactive questions. Your questioning technique can significantly improve with ChatGPT, yes. And questioning technique is one of the most powerful one in teaching and learning. All educators would raise their hands for that one. Next, another teacher, she said, the system has helped me recognize areas of weakness and target areas where students need extra attention. And the beautiful thing about ChatGPT, ladies and gentlemen, is that you can use it to not just differentiate your assessments, but also cater to students with special needs. You can actually ask ChatGPT to write a plan or an individualized education plan based on the student who is autistic. How would they learn this whole topic of solar system? It can do all of that work for you. All right, so what are we saying, or what are we recommending? What are we proposing as it relates to integrating ChatGPT into the Jamaican education system? As a nation, we need to develop a national strategy. And so the government should embrace ChatGPT and develop a national strategy to make it available to all students. So you see that initiative that we started with the tablets in schools, we need to continue that, because I'm still certain that there are students without tablets and other devices that is relevant. Now, training and support, ongoing training will be needed, because if you think we have expert ChatGPT tonight or this evening, think again. This is just a minute or minuscule part of what ChatGPT can do for you. So we will need more training and support so we can better use it, not to use it to cheat and to steal people's intellectual property, but to use it to improve our practice. And of course, security and data privacy, ethics. Ladies and gentlemen, ChatGPT is the future. Get with it. Let's practice. Let's learn. Let's play around with it and improve our practice. Thank you so much, Mr. Robinson.
Indeed, a round of applause for Mr. Ferran. That was an excellent presentation. I felt like I was at one of those sessions. ChatGPT 101, how to use ChatGPT, what to do, what not to do. Listen, this was definitely an insightful presentation, Mr. Ferran. And if you did not know, if you had no clue on how to use ChatGPT, I'm certain that you are leaving this evening knowing how to at least ask it to write a lesson plan for you educators out there. you know how to ask it to write an essay for you. You know something, you know how to use it somewhere or the other. So go on. I'm sending you to open an account. Start your ChatGPT account. He demonstrated how to get there. You need to start it. And the benefits, I tell you, and this is good because I'm certain that we are here thinking that this is all bad or ChatGPT is going to be the death of our intelligence, etc. But here comes Mr. Ferran, who changed the narrative altogether, who flipped the discourse and said, look, these are the benefits of ChatGPT as educators, as students. Use it. It's there for us to use. And I made a little jot in that, listen, based on what you just presented, Mr. Ferran, ChatGPT is not going anywhere. AIs aren't going anywhere. So the best we have to do is get with it, know how to use it, know how to utilize it, manipulate it if we must, if we can, for those who can, and make it a best friend. Make ChatGPT and the other AIs our best friend in our profession. Teaching, learning, whatever it is. Listen, I am all for it right now. Thank you so much. May I see some applause in our chat for our three presenters? Because I feel like we could go on and on. Some applause for our presenters, please. Blow up the chat with some applause, man. Yes, please. Thank you very much. I feel like I want to call them doctors and professors now. Professor Peter, Professor Peters, Dr. Williams, Dr. Ferran, you have done an exceptional job, and we really and truly appreciate what you have presented so far. We at Sam Sharp Teachers College, with the sharp argument, we have joined the conversation. We have made an impact. Trust me, the world is going to watch us now. We are there, and we want to ensure that our voices are heard. It's not just ChatGPT and other countries and AIs and other universities, but here at Sam Sharp Teachers College, we have made our mark. Pretty much, we have put our stamp on the AI conversations and debates that are out there. Thank you so much. I'm going to go into the chat. What's happening inside my chat? Ooh. Oh, let me see what's happening inside the chat now. All right. Listen, the people or our viewers and listeners are pleased, and that's good. That's awesome. I think I had a question here that Kirkton Bennett asked, how can educators ensure that students develop the necessary ethical competence and critical thinking skills to understand and navigate AI technologies responsibly? I think that's a question from, I jot this question from Kirkton Bennett. And I think this question would go to Mrs. Carr Williams. How can educators, well, I guess any one of you can answer, how can educators ensure that students develop the necessary ethical competence and ethical and critical thinking skills to understand and navigate artificial intelligence technologies responsibly? Who would like to start or answer first or comment?
Okay, Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
could you please repeat that question?
Certainly. How can educators ensure that students develop the necessary ethical skills? I think you would want to disconnect your audio because there's a feedback. Yeah. How can educators ensure that students develop the necessary ethical competence and critical thinking skills to understand and navigate artificial intelligence technologies responsibly? And that's something that we definitely want them to do. We're not going to stop them from using, we cannot stop them from using the AIs, but how can we ensure that they develop the necessary ethical competence and critical thinking skills to understand and navigate them?
Okay, that's an excellent question. Thank you so much for posing that. Now, to look at this question, first of all, the institution has to ensure that they work together to ensure that a policy is in place. Of course, all parties involved have to be on board. So the discussion needs to be had, and everyone needs to ensure that they're all working on the same page. And so once the policy is explained and established, students need to be sensitized as to what this policy is. Students should be given policy contracts so that they can be held accountable if they exceed or if they actually, if there are any consequences that need to be meted out to them based on the fact that they have already would have read the policy, and having breached the policy, they would have known that these are the consequences that apply. And so policies and contracts should be given to students to hold them accountable. Now, training is an important aspect to sensitizing students and to get them to comply. And so for orientation sessions, the students should be well informed as to how academic integrity can impact their academic future. And so this is the point of view that we need to take. We're not, in a sense, we're not scaring students from utilizing artificial intelligence or whatever platforms they want to use to consume information. But of course, they need to be aware that their responsibility is to respect other people's intellectual property. And these students need to understand that when presenting assignments, the assignment should be more original in content than that which they take from other sources. So that is supposed to be the crux of the whole matter in terms of producing work to educators.
So Mrs. Carr Williams, are you saying that if a student uses ChatGPT, they're producing someone else's work?
Thank you. If students use ChatGPT to complete assignments that are, let's say, serious assignments, say we're talking about final assignments, you know.
Okay.
If students use ChatGPT, they should indicate where in the assignment they have included ChatGPT. So we're encouraging students, this is not coming from me, this is coming from sources from the internet. That persons need to indicate at what point. So this is actually part and parcel with referencing and in-text citation. So students need to apply those APA, American Psychological 7th edition principles. Though ChatGPT is new and will not, well, it's actually not in the APA manual, there are plagiarism software like Turnitin that has that feature to test how much it is that students are actually using from ChatGPT. So information should be used sparingly with discretion coming from ChatGPT.
Okay. Well, I don't think my question has been answered still, but because I asked if you use ChatGPT, are you using someone else's work? Is it that I'm using someone else's work when I use ChatGPT?
Can I go ahead with that? Check out
certainly, Mr. Peters. Go ahead.
Okay, as it relates to the whole topic of policies, we know that we need to do something in terms of policies, but I think there is this, we're in a kind of period right now in which we're waiting on higher authorities to hand down to us some particulars. For example, I'm suspecting that there may need to be some redefinition of, to redefine what plagiarism is, what's originality. I think the authorities will need to, and I think that is why Sam Altman is asking for the government to step in with regulations, because we can only do our policies afterwards. Because, for example, when these new contents are created, we have to figure out whose work is it. Is it my work because I prompted the computer to do the task, or is it the work of ChatGPT? Currently, ChatGPT hasn't taken ownership for the work. I don't know if they will put a law in place to say that this entity will reserve the rights to what was created. We don't know. So the truth of the matter is that certain laws have to be created above us that will govern how we operate afterwards. So we're still in that waiting process. So I think our solutions will be tentative.
Okay, good. Because I want to know. So we're still waiting to know if that's the case or not. Thank you very much, Mr. Peters. Mr. Richard Aitking asks, if you ask the same question twice to ChatGPT, does it give identical responses each time, or is each response or answer unique? I think this one, I guess any one of you can go, but particularly Mr. Ferron, because this was during your presentation.
Thank you for that question. Now here's the trick. If you, Richard, asks the chatbot to write the essay, it will give you similar or almost, I wouldn't say identical, but similar essays. However, if you try it on a different account, then you will get a fresh essay. That's the trick. So it somehow mimics you too. So based on your previous inquiries, it would write something similar to you, because what it does as well is to copy your writing style. So if you were to copy one of your work now and put it into ChatGPT, just ask it to tell you your writing style. And so in the future, when you are requesting it to write something, once you enter your writing style and then the prompt or then the instruction, it's unfortunate, but it is a possibility that your teacher will not be able to deduce whether or not it is your work. So it can produce identical essays if you're using the same Google account or same login, but if you use a different account, you will get a different essay.
There we go. So just in case you want to do that, you have to do it or try it from a different account. Thank you, Mr. Ferron. Another question, this question is from Sandy G. And the question asks, is it possible to use ChatGPT to identify if it was used to generate the research paper being presented by a student? In a nutshell, can you use ChatGPT to identify if this work, if this research was generated from ChatGPT or by ChatGPT?
Thank you for that question. Yes, it may answer. It depends, because the model is updated like every 2 weeks or at least once for the month. So 1 month it may not work, but in the future it may. For example, I saw a question earlier speaking to the fact that it doesn't have current information. That's not entirely true, because I have gotten recent articles, like Gleaner articles, etc., from ChatGPT in 2023. So it is not entirely true. Yeah. So you can get current information.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I would like to say,
Sure, go right ahead, Mr. Peters.
all right. We have to remember that the current ChatGPT is a developer's model. So many of the let's say laws relating to ChatGPT are not in place as yet. So the model right now is operating as if the work that it creates for you is your work. So when you ask it if it's somebody else's work, it will not disclose that information. That is how I understand it, at least. I'm not going to say I know everything, but yeah, it doesn't disclose whether or not, because it is still in the development mode and it's just collecting data as to how people use it. That is what it's really there for at this time.
Okay.
And before you move on, sir, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to add to that too, if you were to use a plagiarism tool to check whether or not the work was plagiarized, you will be shocked by the similarity index. It may be as low as 5, 3% thereabout. So it shows that it is technically original. I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Quite this this topic definitely requires another session, because a lot more questions are being asked and concerns are surfacing, especially in education, as it relates to what we are about and what we should be looking for in the future, because these are implications and we have to be on our P's and Q's when it comes on to using ChatGPT or other chatbots and plagiarism, etc. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Lisa Morgan comments that she guesses as educators, we don't have a job. Can we find ways to authenticate the student's assignment? Well, Mr. Ferran just responded to that. Mrs. Morgan. This is C. Hall Golding comments that a few days ago, she requested current data from ChatGPT and it directed her to another source. And I think that is in relation to if it has current sources working with when you ask it to generate responses. This one, could inventions such as washing machines, scientific calculators be considered as weak AI? I think this question is for Mr. Peters. Just a trip down memory lane. And this is from Mrs. Hall Golding. When these items were invented, we had similar concerns about competence and critical thinking, etc. Now we are coexisting. Very good one. We are definitely coexisting. So, but the question, could the invention of washing machine and the scientific calculator be considered as weak AI? That question is from Mr. Peter. Based on what you have presented, are these weak AIs? They're considered weak AIs? No, hello?
All right, so I'll take on that question. Remember, what is intelligence? It's the ability to adapt to new information. The washing machine is not adapting to new information. It's also not learning. right? So based on the fact that it's not learning, then we cannot consider it AI. However, based on what is going on in the world right now, maybe they are creating some AI washing machine. That is a possibility, and AI calculators that can do more than the average calculator. But in the natural sense of calculators, no, they aren't AIs.
Okay.
So we can't even say that they're weak AIs.
Okay, thank you. Michelle McFarlane asked, Mr. Ferron spoke on requesting rubrics from ChatGPT. Could that be a slippery slope? Good question. Could that be a slippery slope, requesting rubrics from ChatGPT? Sheridan says it helps educators make their work easy, and Dave Foster says he agrees. I'm not sure if you want to comment on that, Mr. Ferron.
Again, sir, sorry, I missed that. I was reading a comment.
Requesting rubrics from ChatGPT, could that be a slippery slope for educators?
I wouldn't say it's a slippery slope, but you sitting down creating a rubric that will take, let's say, 15 to 20 or even 30 minutes. At least if you utilize ChatGPT, it will give you a framework, a background on which to or within which to work, or parameters. So you generate a rubric and you look at the rubric and you're like, something is missing from this. You could go back to the prompt and ask it to recreate the rubric to include the following, right?
I mean, so
right.
why not just write in the following if you realize something is missing?
Right, and it will regenerate it in seconds.
Because that's what I'm thinking. If you realize something and you know what is missing, why not just add that to it, as opposed to going back to the AI and asking it to? But I guess that's an option. Makes work easier. Sean asks, what are the negative impacts of artificial intelligences on the future of our labor force in Jamaica? And I think Mr. Peters alluded to that when he spoke about the forecast of Jamaica, and education and entertainment and tourism, etc. Example, the need to eliminate certain jobs within the education and the BPO sector, among others. So the question is, what are the negative impacts of AI on the future of our labor force in Jamaica? Mr. Peters.
All right. This would not be the first time we have realized revolution, digital revolution or industrial revolution. And with every revolution, there are going to be restructuring of the workforce. So yes, there will be some jobs that maybe become obsolete. For example, personal assistance, maybe that job will be at risk. As well as art, creation of art, I think that is at risk and is already at risk. However, I think with the emerging AI tools, there will also be creation of new jobs. So there will be some restructuring, and it seems to me that it would be a net positive, because we know that technology comes with both its pros and its cons, where there are disadvantages and there are advantages. But when we look at the overall net of these things, we are forecasting a net positive impact on the future labor force in Jamaica. Because AI is going to cause more tourists to feel free to travel to our country. They are not bombarded with language barriers, and a whole lot of stuff is in the making as it relates to AI. So I'm predicting positivity for the future.
Thank you very much. And one last question we'll take from Richard. Richard, your hand is up, and I believe your hand has been up for a while. I'm very sorry. Go ahead, Richard.
Thank you very much for allowing me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much for allowing me. I actually am a teacher at a tertiary level, and in a scientific field, and specifically in the medical field. So I teach medical students. And it has been on my mind for the longest while that the rate at which knowledge has expanded in the last 10, 20 years has outstripped the medical students from learning it all. And I think the way we go about teaching, it permeates the entire knowledge system all the way through high schools. And the only way the students can cope with being taught and examined on this ever increasing volume of knowledge is that they end up trying to spot questions, memorize answers, and then regurgitate the memorized answers to the multiple choice questions and try to pass. And that culture of teaching students all the knowledge base has to change, because it's impossible for the brain, for the mind to encompass all that exponentially expanding knowledge. And therefore, we have to change that teaching culture, which has been with us for the last couple of 100 years. And we have not changed and evolved to meet things like ChatGPT and this ever expanding knowledge base. And the culture has to change. We can't examine, we're eventually going to get to a stage where we allow students to go in the exam with all the books and with Google, and they can ask Google all the questions to answer the question. They need to now learn how to reach the appropriate knowledge in a timely manner to answer the appropriate question asked. And therefore they have to be taught how to think critically and how to retrieve, deduce, induce the different types of logical, critical analysis, so that they can use what is available to get the required specific problem asked. That culture has to be embraced for us going forward. Otherwise, the students are going to come out trying to memorize as much as they can and not understanding how to deal with this new world that we're a part of. I would love to hear if the panelists have a similar thought.
I couldn't agree with you more, though, Mr. Aitken. Trust me. As Mrs. Michelle McFarlane says, we have to change the assessment culture to suit what we are encountering and what is to come. Indeed, I'm not sure if any of the panelists has any comment.
It's akin to an open book exam, where you go in and they can take their cell phone, they can take anything they want. When the question is asked, they just need to come up with the right answer. So cheating won't be a question. The ability to reach the knowledge and to use it appropriately.
Yeah, and I mean, we have as Sylvester commented in the chat, open book exams or tests have been around for over 20 years. So it's what we ask for in the assessment, most definitely. Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We are going to wrap up now. Definitely, we have been here for some time, and I know the conversation is thrilling. I know you would want to listen more and continue to engage in this discussion. But as we said before, this is the beginning of our sharp argument. We have a lot more in store for you. Stay tuned, please, as we share via social media what we have coming your way from the Sam Sharp Teachers College, the institution of choice in teacher education in Western Jamaica. Just to put a note here before I wrap up, we are having an online public information session on June 15. Look out for the information regarding that public session. So it's an online public information session on June 15. We will let you know about that. Just follow us on the various social media platforms. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are all over. So just follow us, and we are on LinkedIn. We'll keep you abreast of what's happening. Again, let me thank our presenters, Mr. Ferron, Mr. Peters, and Mrs. Carl Williams, who have pretty much opened up a lot of conversations and given us information that a lot of us would not have, wouldn't be privy to. And the insight, the aha moments, the demos they were real, and I really appreciate it. I'm certain that our colleagues or stakeholders are appreciative of it. Very informative session, brilliant presenters, and I can't say anything else than just that, because I am left in awe, and I am a user of ChatGPT just the same. And just a fun fact, the OpenAI, who that the company, the head company for ChatGPT, they have over 45 other artificial apps. Over 45 of them they have, and trust me, you can find it. I follow ChatGPT on Instagram, and a lot of information is there. If you're on Instagram, you can follow them, and you will get more information like what Mr. Ferren gave you earlier on. Ladies and gentlemen, just one more thing to note: for those are educators, primary school educators, secondary school educators, you have heard our experts. And just in case you want more information, we definitely offer professional development services here at Sam Sharp Teachers College. You can call us, and we book and we'll send to your institution for us to offer our services to you. Remember what Sam Sharp is all about: service, commitment, and excellence. We're here for you. Thank you so much. Thanks to our team here at Sam Sharp Teachers College, our planning and events team, put this wonderful session together. The head, Mrs. Reed, Teresa Reed, thank you so much. You have worked really hard in getting this program on. Thanks to our principal, Mr. Ricardo Bennett, and other faculty members. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening. Ta-ta.
Broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. If you can find the fire, but I see it in you, so you walk it out. Ooh, mountain, we gon' walk it out. Ooh, mountain. Now